Welcome to episode 0 of the Meshy podcast. I think most of you have already been to our previous events. For anyone here who hasn't, we've been running this one now for about 6 months as a Creator Hangout, and we're in the process of changing it to a podcast format. So this is technically the first pilot episode to kind of showcase or kind of like get a vibe or a feel for what it's going to be like moving forward with this event. So I'll just start by introducing myself. I'm Exonovium Meshy Community Ambassador. I'm an AI consultant, VR Chat World Creator. And the purpose of the show, I guess, is to discuss all things AI and game dev related. So we'll be covering industry news and emerging tools, and just pretty much having a very open format conversation about all things AI related, really. How does that sound? All right, we have
Maybe you could talk about Mesh in this.
yeah, we'll cover some Meshy stuff. Yeah, although the format, it's going to be, even though we'll cover some Meshy stuff, like we're going to be talking about a lot of general stuff too. So even if somebody isn't a Meshy user specifically, if you're using AI, you're a game developer, this should be pretty interesting for you. So yeah, pretty much, we're also planning to have some guests on. That's one thing we haven't really done before in the Creator Hangouts. So I'm going to be organizing some special guests. If you know anyone personally who you think it'd be fun to have on to have a conversation with, just let me know I just made a new channel in the server under the ongoing event called the Meshy podcast. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions or feedback or anything like that, anyone you want to have on the show, just post your idea there. So yeah, also, I just want to thank everyone as well. Like we have a few people who've pretty much come to like every episode so far, every hangout. So yeah, big thank you to Tara and Owen and just everyone really who's already made the current event successful. So it's cool to see how this hangout is evolving. And yeah, couldn't do it without you guys, coming every week to show your stuff off and have a chat.
It's our
Thank you
pleasure.
for the opportunity to talk and create this environment.
Yeah, definitely. It's been fun actually. So I really want to see like, yeah, what happens if we try to grow this event? Because at the moment, it's a very small, like close-knit, like very relaxed event. And I think it can still stay that way, but it'd be great to show more people, like to kind of give people the opportunity to see it, at least if they can't even attend it. So that's kind of the idea behind the podcast side of things. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's move on. First, I want to introduce Nova, who's our new community person. Nova, do you want to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hey, everybody. The name is Nova Ray. I help run community as well and content here at Meshy. Outside of work, I'd say I'm really into like gaming, content creation, and just experimenting with creative tools and just creating things just cause. But I'm super excited to meet all of you guys. I know this is my first time being here. So as the newbie, just wanted to introduce myself, and I want to get to know you guys and see all the cool stuff we could make and hang out and just get better,
All right. Welcome.
Nice. Yes, welcome. Can you speak Spanish? Because I saw you write in Spanish.
I can speak Spanish.
Awesome. Actually, yeah, on that note, do you guys I wonder if like Tara and Owen or anyone else, do you want to introduce yourselves too? Just because this is like episode 0. So for anyone watching who doesn't sort of know you guys, do you want to do a quick intro?
Sure. So I go by Tara online. I'm a aspiring game dev. I haven't finished anything, but I've prototyped in Unity for a decade now, and I like to think that I know my way around the engine and have been coding for a long time. I also make music, and since the arrival of generative AI, I've embraced the tools. They supercharge what I do and open up new opportunities. I also try to stay critical of the quality and also the philosophy around it. And I love to play my music to everyone who wants to hear it. I hope it adds something to these meetings in terms of vibes.
Awesome. Yeah, I know you're a pretty big fan of Suno for the AI music. A lot of people here. I just got into it again recently, actually. I haven't been making as much music as I wanted to, but yeah, no, definitely. Thank you for your music. It's always nice to hear.
Suno and generative audio in general. I think I just like saying yes and to the machine.
Owen?
Sure. I'm an architect. I'm from Chile, so my main language is Spanish, but I'm using this session also to improve my English. I work in construction, but since the last year, I quit my job and do it like partial time, and I've been spending more time on my personal project. I have a video game I made in Unreal Engine. I've been working on it, and since like 2021, and I launched a demo a few days ago with the help of Meshy, because Meshy and the AI in general, the ChatGPT and also Nano Banana and all the technologies. Also Suno, I love Suno. I've been helping me a lot to speed my workflow and make better 3D models, better music, and improve overall my product. So that's my story. I hope I can keep improving and I can work in building a community for my game, and I hope you can be part of it. I've been showing this project like for a year here, I think, and Meshy's been helping me a lot with the licenses and giving me opportunity to use their product. That is amazing, and I've been seeing it evolve over the years since Meshy 3, and now Meshy 6 is in another level.
Yeah, every time a new version comes out, you replace all your old models with the new
Yeah,
It's
cool.
understandable. Cool. Thank you very much, Owen. And yeah, your game, so Treasures of Maipo, I don't know if you mentioned the game title. I'm going to be playing the demo today, probably a bit later. We'll do like the news segment first, but yeah, we'll be showing your game as well today.
Thank
And yeah, awesome. Andy, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah,
You
can
don't have to,
do.
but
Now I
yeah, go
can. I'm
ahead.
a yapper. I'll talk forever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so I'm Andy. I live in Oregon, just right outside of Portland. If you head towards Mount Hood, away from Portland, that's where my day job is. I work at Autodesk. So I'm a mechanical engineer, and I was working on the 3D modeling side of things with Fusion and Inventor for a bit. But right now I'm technical solutions on the sales side at Autodesk. And about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I had this idea with my kids. I got twin boys and a daughter. And when they were in high school, I wanted to show them, hey, this kind of stuff can be achievable if, just put your mind to it and you want to sit down and do it. They were really interested in Blender, and Unreal Engine 5 became available around that time. So I had picked it up. I had tried doing it like 6 years ago with the Arc Unreal Engine editor that they had available, but it was a nightmare to deal with. But so then I started a Udemy courses to kind of get up to speed and try to stay ahead of my kids so that we could all work on this video game together. And it kind of actually turned into something pretty cool. So I started a company called Just Got Real Studio, where JGR Studio is an abbreviation for it, and there's 5 of us right now external to my kids that we're working on this. We had 9 at one point, but everybody's got day jobs, so it kind of makes it a little bit more difficult. And so the game itself has kind of morphed over time. A lot of it was purchased assets, and then Meshy came out. Some of the other tools started coming out. Tripo, for example, right, is another one and some of the open source ones are also something that I'm trying out too on my currently right now, actually, with a comfy UI type workflow, trying to get these things to run to see what we can do better. But yeah, the game started off super ambitious, too big for us. So we've kind of dialed it down a little bit, and we went to a smaller single player type architecture on this game. And then we realized that was also still too big. So we've actually scaled it back just a little bit more. And currently the workflows in Meshy are perfect for this game because we wanted to do a retro style type flipbook type game. And since without being able to get, super high AAA type textures out of this, it really works out well because there's a top down, not top down, but, isometric view on the video game itself. We are able to use almost all of the models that we create inside of Meshy inside of our game. So my workflow right now is to use Gemini to help create images. I put in a storyline, and then I give it very specific bits of what I want these characters to look like, the NPCs or the player character, and then I bring it into Meshy and make any tweaks that I have to. Yeah, there you go. I'll keep rambling forever.
No, that's interesting. I had a few questions actually. Well, first of all, I'm trying to remember. Have you shown your game before at the event?
I have not. I think I showed it to you once, like 2 months ago, real quick, and
Okay.
we've got some updates to it.
Oh,
Where
nice.
characters are the stall point right now are the characters. The player character and the NPC characters in the game. Not because of, the technology, but the rigging and animating. That ends up being a really big bottleneck right now. So getting the characters is great, but being able to get them working in the game is kind of the difficulty right now.
Yeah, it's still quite a slow process, even with auto rigging. like, I don't know, just getting animation set up properly in your game is quite tedious. I haven't found too many good tools for that yet myself. Yeah, I'm just wondering, so do you like vibe code your game, or how is it like built?
So we not necessarily a vibe code, although I do use either the ChatGPT or Gemini. I cycle between the two. I've recently started using Aura, which is the Blueprints and C++ plugin AI assistant for Unreal, and it's great now. Like the latest version is pretty awesome. So from a vibe coding perspective, I'll use that to kind of help out doing some quick testing things. Like, hey, put 1,000 NPCs in the scene real quick and have them chase me. I want to see what performance looks like and kind of measure it that way. But I've always treated the way, so I'm a mechanical engineer that can't write code. I've never been able to. I've always struggled with it. It always pissed me off just trying to understand like the nuances of it and the willy-nilly fly by the seat of your pants methodology and coding. We can do the same thing 100 different ways. And that always really bothered me. So about 2 years ago, actually when I started this, it was just really, really lucky that AI started becoming a little bit more of a LLM type helping system. And then when ChatGPT came out, I gave it the custom instructions that said, you are a professor. Don't tell me what the answers are. Help me understand why things exist and why we're doing something one way. And so I went from no coding to C++ coding in about 7 months. I'm not great at it, but I'm okay with it. I still have to ask a lot of questions, but that was before vibe coding, of course, which I really enjoy now, and now trying to get into that a little bit more on my own with other stuff and seeing where I can actually bring it into it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think telling the AI not just to solve your problem, but to teach you as it does, because I actually feel like, so I'm not a coder myself, but I feel like as I've used AI, I've kind of learned coding, or I've learned like some fundamentals of coding just by reading, like the code the AI spits out and troubleshooting it and fixing it. But yeah, I think that's a worthwhile approach. Like if you can, there's probably some way to learn coding, maybe maybe not correctly, but at least in a way that it makes it more usable to vibe code just by adjusting your AI's instructions.
Agreed. Yeah. The one thing that I have learned over time, and I guess we could call it a little bit of like an offshoot of vibe coding style, is asking the questions correctly or giving it statements correctly. I've learned a lot. I always tell people when I'm if I'm talking to people at work or anybody else, I always say, if there's one thing that working with an LLM has actually taught me, it's how to communicate better. We can't use some kind of a colloquialism or some kind of a if I tell it it's cool, and in English, right, that cool can also mean it's awesome or neat or something like that. It takes it literal. So I've learned to try to avoid doing things like that cause confusion or disruption in the flow of the way that I'm trying to learn something. And I was very strict about it, telling me to correct me if I'm stating something wrong and tell me what the real definition is or how I'm really supposed to be using something. So those were very important to me, getting them going.
Oh, definitely. I think the importance of communication is understated. Like most of the people who struggle with AI, they're not good communicators. And people kind of say like, well, the coding language of the future is natural language. It's just like English basically. And I think a lot of people they'll try to tell the AI to do something, it won't do exactly what they want, and then they kind of give up. And they don't realize that like you have to learn what the AI understands and how it interprets what you say. And you can only really do that through prompting and experience. But yeah, that's that's why a lot of people just can't get AI. Like some people get it and some people don't. And the common trend I've noticed is who are like pretty good writers, they can get it. People with very logical minds who almost like think like they can think through like legal stuff almost. Like they have a very logical process in their own brain. Like that they can just do step by step, and the AI understands that very well, like very specific language. But yeah, a lot of people they're a lot more abstract, and I think then it's hard for the AI to create what they actually want.
Yeah, I agree. That was a big struggle for me in the beginning. I used to get really pissed off with it, but the other thing that's kind of interesting with it is I've started doing things in pieces. Very simple, start off small. I don't even go into it with a full-blown prompt yet, and I actually have it help me generate a prompt that I want to use for something, and then I make it so that it's broken up. That's one of the things that I've recently started getting into, is combining everything now. So before I used to do step by step by step. I'd give it something, wait for the response, give it the next thing, wait for the response. And with the new, as it's improving, you can actually break your instructions down into individual steps and tell it to go through each one at a time. That way it doesn't think that it has to do everything at once. That's been a really helpful way of getting to move forward with a lot of my learning and my desires and the things that I need from it.
Yeah, that reminds me of building websites with Lovable. I don't know if people here have tried that, but it's a very popular vibe coding website app at the moment. And it's interesting because it automatically will just create a plan for you in steps and then implement each stage. Like if I try to do it all at once, and I think it makes it a lot more powerful than often what ChatGPT or Gemini try to do, which is a one size fits all, like do everything in a single prompt. So yeah, definitely agree with that. Cool. Yeah, let's not go too deep into that just yet. We could talk about this for hours, actually.
I know.
I want to give anyone else the opportunity. Let me invite everyone to speak in the call. I don't know. I think Cool Puzzler doesn't usually talk. Chad, did you want to say hi? Tell us about your 3D printing at all.
Sure. Yeah. I'm Chad. I 3D print enthusiast, I guess. I've been 3D printing for about 6 years now. Meshy AI for a little over one. Jack of all trades, master of none. And I just enjoy like hanging out with you guys. You guys are like so smart with this whole gaming thing. I'm more like RPG tabletop type stuff, but it's really cool to see what you guys are working on and all that. So yeah, I'm in southern Utah. By day, I run 87 subways as a marketing director, and in the evenings I 3D print. So that's my story.
Hell yeah.
Very cool.
Also, yeah, jack of all trades, master of none. I wouldn't agree with that. I think you're a master of 3D printing with Meshy. Your stuff's pretty good, especially you're doing a workflow where you're generating models in segments and then recombining them. I think that's quite unique, to get more detail. I don't know if you want to mention that, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's been awesome. I have found that I've been able to find some really deep detail in just going very small, like just generating an arm or a leg or whatever and kind of combining them. I'm still trying to master down how to film myself doing it in a format that's clear and knowledgeable. So hopefully by sometime soon we'll be able to do that.
Sorry. At which stage are you combining them? Like on the screen or the 3D parts?
So I've been combining them mostly in Blender. I generate each individual. So it starts out with whatever I'm trying to start with as far as prompt goes, wherever I get the image. There's several sites, ChatGPT. There's a few that are a little better some of them have restrictions that sometimes is kind of silly restrictions, blood, guts, that kind of stuff. So you can't get too deep without it giving you a not safe for work error. And then you can kind of get into some, like the monster I just did. You find the one you want, and then I take it into like Microsoft Paint and remove this, add that, and then just print off each individual piece and then add them together in Blender. I've been trying to use some of the other 3D design websites, but I've been doing Blender for about 6 years now. Blender and Tinkercad are kind of my go-tos. And Tinkercad more like I just made a nice new set to hold my Oculus, and I got some mounts for like my PS5, things of that nature. But it's more like full image, full square objects. Nothing really deep detail, and then Blender going in there, adding all of them together, kind of joining them wherever they need to be joined. And then, yeah, there's might be even one of you guys that did some awesome stuff with taking the image, making a copy, and then kind of taking out the inside. I believe Magic Magician had a nice little work set up for it, and I've been using that a lot lately to kind of make sure there's no errors or pockets or any kind of internal problems. And then, yeah, printing it's been nice. Meshy's been awesome, and I'm always going back to Meshy, even with some of the other workflow methods. Like Trip has something where you can break the model into pieces. Even when it's broken to pieces, you're just not getting the detail you can get by just printing a head on Meshy. So yeah, kind of been having a lot of fun with it. I made that one for Christmas that is like 13 different models together, and then I printed it so small that it's crazy. And yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, I thought maybe you lost a bit of detail just because you went so small with that print, even though your models were quite detailed. I'm not sure.
I
I don't know
definitely
a whole lot
did.
about. You did a little bit. Yeah, well, you could do another full size one, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been
Pretty
thinking about
ambitious.
it. The Christmas competition came and went so quick that it was like I had so much going on. My desktop was just full of all these different Meshy project Christmas 1, Meshy project Christmas 2. And then, work and everything else kind of happened. And I was like, well, we're just going to have to cut back and flip a coin on which one we're going to do. And yeah, so
Well, I think you've 3D printed more Meshy models than anyone else, I think, in the last like 2 months, or since Halloween at least.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
well,
sure if
and
everyone here's seen all of your showcases in the 3D print channel.
Chad, I got a quick question about your workflow in the beginning. That's one of the things, it was actually one of the very first things that I tried on Meshy was separating the components of the of the models that I had. So remove a
Mhm.
cloak from a hard shell body, or separate the soft stuff with the hard stuff, armor or skin, things like that. What is my workflow was to actually create the image in Gemini and then tell it to isolate the hood, isolate the cloak, isolate the right shoulder, isolate the left. Is that what does your workflow look like to be able to create that
Very
image?
similar. I used like ChatGPT or Microsoft. What is the Microsoft one? I think it's Edge, and then isolate the image. But I like to find a nice view of it. So if I'm doing like an arm, I want to have the model turned so that it's the right profile. And then I take it into any of the paint or any of the, it depends on where I'm at. If I'm at work, I'm using a different workflow for removing, but I take it to any of the photo editing. And then I just remove background to white and remove everything I don't to white, and then send that over to Meshy. So it's that image. If it's too like Meshy's funny because if it's too close to being a full model, it will just auto generate the rest of the model. Like, oh, you definitely have a bust here, but you want legs now. So you go from having the bust that you wanted couple million faces on to a full model of a couple million faces, so you lose some of that detail. So I find it to be easier to make whatever the model's going to be as small in the picture as possible without losing detail. So there's lots of background to let Meshy know, no, I am isolating this one piece of armor, this sword, this leg, and it tends to. I've gotten a lot recently that are really good that I've found that just making sure the white background works really well.
Yeah.
That's interesting to know.
Hey, Jerome. Nice
Hi.
to have you here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
should we before we go too much further into the discussion, did anyone else want to introduce themselves? Actually, Jerome, do you want to just quickly introduce yourself and your game? Be good.
Yes, sorry. Maybe I can share my screen now.
Yeah, if you'd like to just show us your game quickly. Just for anyone, who hasn't seen it yet.
Okay, I'm started like 5 months point and click game. I've made
We can see your screen.
my screen. Okay.
Unity.
I made it on Unity using some asset pack to make the game is on the island. I'm using AI to make a voice, the 2D assets, and the character I'm using in Meshy.
Nice.
So
I love the music. Your game
Yeah.
has a real it's like a real style to it.
yeah,
I don't even know how to describe it really, but it really pulls you into it.
I use the Suno to make the music. So the last version is really nice. So,
I have to carry out my.
so it's a classical point and click, find items.
Oh, the items show up now at the bottom.
Yeah,
You've collected.
I've made some change. I can
Because
quality.
didn't you get a hater who complained about the performance, right?
Yeah, on the 4K, I had performance issues. So I've made. I found where it came. It was because of the global illumination in real time. I wasn't suspecting this to be that heavy computing. In the game ran at 20, 30 frames per second. So I fixed that. I had added the translation, the localization with a few
Oh wow.
few language.
Does that also
And
translate the subtitles in game?
It changed everything in game without reloading. So
And so you've been working on this. Did you say 6 months? When do you 5 months was it? When do you think you'll finish it and publish?
there is many things to do. The late few 2 months, I've made no progress in the level, mostly in the code. I've added the loading. I can quick load, quick save on save on in the menu. Some fixes. I
And
think
you're using Meshy for most of the props, right? And the characters?
yeah,
But not the bulk.
so I use a mix. The beach, the assets are made with Meshy. The little house is an asset pack also. The character are made using Meshy.
Hey man, welcome to the bar at the end of the world. The only place around here since 1730. No beer here, I guess? Nah man, just rum or cocktails. Shaken, not stirred.
Do you plan to fill the whole island with like the whole map on the island, or just
Yeah.
the areas?
I'll try to fill it. I think it's a good year or more of work. I've made also the so you can follow the progress. Yeah, you have to find the code.
It's a cookbook.
You find
Oh, there's a note inside.
you find the note, and you see in the log it's updated.
Oh, nice.
So
This man, great affluent vacationer, reading a book about the excesses of the good day. Well, maybe not
Do you
that.
use AI in your process for the story? Like, do you kind of is it an original story, or do you kind of go back and forth with AI, or how do you decide the story?
Okay,
I'm
that man is really strange.
using it a little for the dialogues, and the main story isn't finished yet. But I mostly write it myself. But from time to time, I use ChatGPT or Gemini. Mostly Gemini now. Since the Gemini 3, I use Gemini only. It's really,
You
really,
switched.
re-
Made the
yeah,
switch.
yeah.
What about ChatGPT 5.2? That just came out too, right?
I didn't try it.
So I guess I had a question, and Nostra kind of brings this up too in the chat. Like, are you worried AI haters are going to see like you using AI video for your game trailer, or using AI in your game? Like, what are your experiences with the haters at the moment?
Mostly the voices. The main thing that the players have seen is about the voice.
About what? Sorry, devices? Did you say?
The voice, the voice, the voicing.
Oh, the voices,
generated voices.
right? Yeah, your 11 Labs voices, right? Okay. Nobody's minds the AI, like the rest of it.
Not
You haven't
the,
shown many people
not
yet.
not much, not really much. Don't
Okay.
really care much about that because I've made my Steam page and I'm showing I'm a solo developer, so they don't really mind. I think because they know that's not a triple A game, so that's okay. I mean, until now, maybe when a game will be more advanced, I will have some issue. But players understand that small studio may use it maybe more than big studios.
Yeah, well, I think big studios are using AI a lot too, although maybe in less obvious ways. But yeah, I have a few sort of news articles to go over about that actually as well.
Yeah, that's the perfect segue to the Clear Obscure story.
Yes, a little segue there.
So
Yeah, well, thank you for introducing your game. I think unless Goji Oz, do you want to do a quick intro, or I'm not sure if you want to talk today.
Hi, my name's Goji. I'm from Australia. I've got a background in business to business software engineering. I've been playing with Unity since it came to Windows. I've only been doing 3D model generation for under a month. I saw that Copilot added that as a thing to try for free, and when it couldn't do certain particularly complex models, I looked at the options and went with Meshy, and it does a good job of doing Lovecraftian, lots of tentacle, dribbly eyeball sort of things. I don't use the generated models directly. I usually just use it to block out, or where once upon a time I'd use like C-spheres and ZBrush to block out proportions. I find using a 3D generate or AI generated model is a faster way of doing that, and then I can go in and hand make the model without having to first spend ages getting the proportions right. And yeah, that's a short version. I do have thoughts about people who hate on AI, and I see a lot of irrational, or what I would consider irrational inconsistencies. Like someone said, "Oh, you didn't make this; the AI made that." It's like, okay, tell all the photographers that they didn't do anything. The camera did the work.
I love that example.
you can sculpt also. I did a test on the model. You can take the Meshy model and sculpt directly on it. Then you make a really good work, I think.
Yeah, I think a few people are doing that actually, either blocking out with Meshy models or using them in some kind of traditional workflow where they're not directly, I guess, just using the model. No, that's cool. Thanks for that intro, and interesting to hear what you're doing with Meshy. Yeah, maybe later if we get time, I don't know if you want to screen share and show us any of it, but it sounds interesting, so that would be cool if you could. Cool. All right, I think that's... Oh, Hammerhead just joined. Hammerhead, how are you doing? We're kind of doing intros at the moment because this is like episode 0 of the podcast.
Gotcha. Hello. Sorry I'm late. I was a little tied up with some things.
No worries.
I'm Hammerhead Actual. I am I'm CEO of a small studio only because nobody else wanted the job and we can't afford to pay anybody else to do it. So I work on a game mostly solo as a mostly, I guess, passion project, but it's Frontiers Reach Mercenaries is the name of the game. Large open world game. I won't get too into it because otherwise we'll be here all day. I would have to show you. So
it's a space game, right? It's like a space. How would you describe it in short?
The best way I've come to describe it is that it's an immersive open world survival shooter with RPG elements. So like there are some skills that you'll have to level up that are tied to like different activities like crafting and shooting and stuff like that. But generally speaking, it is a third-person shooter that is got survival elements, and the big thing is I'm basically trying to build an AI-powered sandbox where different factions will fight each other and issue contracts to basically progress their efforts to fight each other for control of a map. And you as a mercenary will go down to the surface of these planets and take contracts and choose sides and be diplomatic. And I've got a whole dialogue system I've been working on within another game that's all basically just dialogue and idle management stuff. So
yeah, it's a pretty ambitious project, in my opinion. but it looks great from what you've shown us.
Really, really huge scope indeed.
Yeah, I was able to.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was able to. I'm getting the foundations laid for a brand new map because the map that I developed and tested with, it's not good for gameplay. It's just kind of like there for testing. So I'm in the process of developing or putting together a new map, and I think we're at 900 square kilometers of playable space. And the last number I checked was we can probably have about 500 points of interest and a few thousand unique instances of NPCs. So it should be a pretty robust open world once I get everything working. And I'm using Meshy specifically for filling out NPCs, like almost like peasants, where they don't really have a whole lot that you can do with them, but they'll react to various things in the environment. Like if a gun battle starts off, they'll get down and crouch and try to run back to their homes. Eventually, I'll have like renown and disposition added to those NPCs. So like if your character is specifically known for being harsh or lawless and you go into a lawful town, people are going to be afraid of you. So there's this
It's pretty complex systems.
Yeah, there's an immersive sandbox that I'm trying to basically prep for integration with AI so that the AI can run things and then you'll just sort of like play on top of that sandbox.
Have you tried these low poly beta yet?
I have not, but I'm not at a point where I've had to worry about it. I've actually been surprisingly, I've been able to get Meshy's models under what would typically be the standard for today's NPCs. Like, I think back when Infamous Second Son came out, the main character was about 150,000 polygons, and the average NPC was like 40,000 polygons. Nowadays, you can push that up to about 80,000 polygons for your typical NPC, maybe larger on some of the higher end sort of custom built game engines like Crytek, or like the Crysis engine by Crytek or Unreal. And Unity should be able to push, especially the high definition render pipeline, and once I get LODs added, should be able to push about 80,000. And with Meshy, I've been able to get all of the characters under 80,000 polys.
Nice.
So,
Awesome. Yeah, no, thanks for the intro. Cool. So, yeah, moving on, I was going to talk about this. Has anyone here heard about this? Expedition 33 prize was like revoked due to generative AI use.
I did.
Yeah, we already.
petty and small.
So this was
It's a bit of a
big-
weird one because they actually. So Jerome said they were just using mood boards. I've read that it was placeholder art where they forgot to remove one instance of it.
Sorry.
So whichever the details are, it's not like they actually wanted or did use AI stuff in the actual published version of the game. Or if they even did, then it was a mistake on their behalf, which they corrected. So this is a real strong example of, I think, of like overly irrationally hating on AI for no reason. When I do think there is reasons, sometimes it's about quality or whatever. But this game, everyone loved it. It's amazing. It's a work of passion. You can clearly see that. It's not like anyone wanted to make something cheap here or take shortcuts or anything. It's not like they had no vision and needed the machine for that. It's just sad.
I think they did that. They did that decision to make some noise, to have some bad buzz. It's still it's a good buzz. I don't see any other reason they do this.
I doubt that. I mean, the prize was like revoked from them, and it, of course, any publicity is good publicity. You can say that, but I think for those people, for the devs, it must be emotionally, it must be very unpleasant.
Yeah, I think they did a really bad move with this because the next year there will be more and more games using AI. And the player said that was a shame. They've been revoked from the. I don't think the Indie Game Awards will be ready for by now.
Yeah, there tends to be kind of a regressive view held by the game dev establishment, or I guess what I'd call the establishment of not just game dev or like indie game dev establishment, but like gaming journalism. There's kind of this very old-fashioned like approach where, because like hating on AI is kind of trendy culturally right now, they're trying to cater to that for like clicks, and it's created this weird situation where more and more people every day are using all these AI tools. Like big companies are using them, indie game devs are using them, but then there's this like growing pushback towards it, even though it's just going to keep increasing. Like I think even the indie game dev awards saying that AI isn't even eligible for prizes is quite short sighted. But in some ways, it's kind of a good thing because it just means that as things continue to change, like awards that do allow AI are going to become more popular and grow in visibility. So it's kind of crazy. It's an interesting controversy.
Same things happen with STL designs. All 3D print websites now have disclaimers for AI generated. It's crazy over the last 6 months, the hate that it's created. And for someone to be able to just look at a model and go, okay, well, that was done by someone that took all this time and all these different tools, or this guy that did a prompt and took probably just as much time. It's insane. But yeah, I hope there is something in the future that we can display ours proudly and be able to be awarded for design, because I'm sure everyone in this group knows it's not something we can just press a couple buttons, talk a prompt in, and we're good to go.
Especially for game dev, it's so complex and there's not just any one tool. And yeah, I like.
If you don't change and fix few things, Meshy models are not usable in the game. You cannot copy past 2000 polygon model. You have to clean or mesh or make some remeshing. You have to prepare the model to be rigged. There is some lot of work that you cannot push a button like this.
I don't think that can be said in general. It depends. You could go for a very stylized art style and, slap a heavy shader on the whole screen if your game is just outlines or whatever. It totally depends on the use case is what I'm saying.
But
and I think that's important because it's not about so much about the quality of the outcome of one single tool. It's about what people do with that. Nothing and just putting it out there and it being slopped to whatever each of us has in mind for tricks to how to make it usable. Some people go into Blender and clean it up. Others, like me, I just move the camera away and I use heavy shading.
I've made a little of both. I'm far from the camera is far. It's a top down, so it's easy. But for some model, I've made some cleaning. But yeah, otherwise,
it depends on your game style, and there are creative ways to work more quickly with AI assets. Like definitely
later on, if I get to show some of my stuff, I can show an example of what you're talking about there, where a certain style can bypass a lot of that.
If you want to show us now, you could quickly.
Yeah, okay.
Or later. Show us later. It's okay. We've got a lot of news to get through. Next one. So this is annoying. The Verge. I didn't realize, but they keep doing a pop-up. Anyway, they've stopped now. So yeah, one other thing. A lot of people are trying to. A lot of traditional indie game devs are now trying to kind of promote their games as like, well, we don't use AI, so support us. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is something really common on social media lately, where there'll be like a pretty mediocre game that's kind of an asset flip from, it's just Unity store models, and they'll be like, guys, we don't use AI, like pat us on the back. And it's weird because, yeah, they get attention for it, but none of the people giving them attention are actually going to buy their game. And it's quite funny, to be honest, where it's like if the biggest selling point of your game is you didn't use AI, like I'm not going to play it. Like that to me isn't going to make me want to try it. So yeah,
I think the player are some really cares about using or not AI, but most of them really wants just a good game.
Exactly.
They don't care.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Some people, it's a big deal to them. I don't think most people care really, especially once the quality is there. Like, I mean, people watch CGI films. Like, that's kind of an example. Like, when CGI came out, people were like, oh, it's not real. It looks terrible. Yeah, and it looks bad. And then CGI got really good, and now people don't care. Like, they just go to a film and they actually like the CGI. They're like, oh, this film has great CGI. So, yeah, I think that attitude will definitely keep changing as AI tools become better.
Especially in animation, where it all used to be done by hand, and then it was just cheaper and easier to do cel-shaded 3D. And no one's complaining about all the people whose jobs were lost because they're not there working.
You have some video AI to make animation.
I do think it's sad that, like, if you look at the old Disney movies versus Pixar, what mainstream animation has become. And I think that is a process that AI will probably, sadly, accelerate in terms of mainstream art. But it's not a new problem. It's not something that's really, I think, that's anchored on the technology. It's again about how people use it and what they make of it. Yeah. And in that vein, because I'm always a bit worried that this is like, it's easy for us to be one-sided and to be an echo chamber. And I can understand some part of this. Oh, this game is made without AI, because like when I look at pixel art, for example, really good pixel art, I would be curious, is this generated or not? Because if it's not, then there's a really talented pixel artist there, and that does kind of give it some different quality. So I'd say it's just this huge overreaction where I'm on board with you guys, where it's kind of annoying. And if it's just a selling point or just riding this anti-AI wave, then it's sad. And I feel like if there is a game, for example, with nice pixel art, maybe they wouldn't even have to telegraph it that loudly, because people will find out anyway if this is generated or if there's an artist, because he probably has a profile with more art, and it's fine for that to have value, I think.
Generally everyone loved Dead Cells, and they were pretty proud saying, yeah, we used 3D and post-processing to make all our sprites. We didn't do this stuff by hand.
Yeah, especially in games,
yeah.
we've always tried to find new ways to do things. So, sorry.
And back to Donkey Kong Country, made with Silicon Graphics or whatever back in the day. I was like, oh yeah, this is great. This is, taking things to new levels. The AI thing is just witch hunting, irrational bandwagon nonsense, which will hopefully pass like that sort of thing. Some new big demon will come along for those sort of minded people to hate. And
I think a big studio will make overuse of AI and will be, I will want to make more money and pay less people to make games. In a certain way, I think it's a good thing that some people don't like, especially in AAA games. They don't like to see AI everywhere. Maybe it's a good thing.
Well, yeah, I think for a lot of AAA games, because people are already paying like $100 for a game or whatever, and I think they feel a bit cheated when... Yeah, I do get that. I think that's understandable. So next big headline, this is kind of a crazy headline. Steam games that openly use generative AI earned $660 million this year. I'll save you reading the article. I think it was mostly Call of Duty for this figure. But this is kind of interesting. Like, yeah, AI adoption in like big games is definitely increasing, and these are big profitable games. So what do people think about that?
Well, the audience didn't care when it found out whether they're using exploitative extreme crunch work practices or anything, especially those big legacy, those games that, come out with a new version every couple of years or whatever. Their audience doesn't care how it's made. They just want the newest version of that fix.
They kind of run like sweatshops, don't they? Like, I've heard some pretty crazy things about these big companies. They kind of, or even like, like anime, like traditional anime creators. Like, yes, it looks beautiful and it's handcrafted, but those people, the actual animator,
hours a day sleeping at the office.
Yeah, it's like a sweatshop. And even in Japan, like, it's a very low wage profession being an animator. And it's like, well, if we can save people time with AI and make it, I don't know, like less like that, that sounds good to me. Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, there's always going to be, it's not like AI is going to replace everything. There's going to be a spectrum of things done by hand and things done by machine. And people will be able to either choose based on their ideology which one they want, or just choose based on the outcome that they prefer, regardless of how it was made.
I just noticed that Caden in the chat said, last year I hired artists and spent between 20 and 30K. This year I am to spend less than 5K. That's really interesting. So what AI are you using, Caden? Wait, you can talk if you want. I'll invite you to speak. I don't know if you have a mic or you could type. I want to know more about that. Well, actually, Jerome, I think like what people would like to see is if a big game company uses AI, then the game should be cheaper, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But I think what they're actually going to see is that, unfortunately, big corporations being big corporations, they'll probably instead just increase their profit margin as opposed to passing that on.
I think also, and they lose many more players, like they did with doing each year they do the same game, and they have less and less player and more player moving to indie games or to double A games. So I think if they use AI and they keep the price, they will continue to lose customers, because I think small developers, small team and studio will make some great things with AI, like we see with Meshy, and it will be hard for big company if they want to keep the price high, I think.
Well, also they'll be competing with indie game companies that use AI, and that might bring the price down, because if indie companies or individual devs can start competing using AI, like leveraging AI, then big companies will have to drop their game prices, because you'll be able to play something like Call of Duty that was built completely with AI by like a small team, and
And
that's
it's
what
just
people
having
might
the
start to
quality
do.
of assets available too. So, like, for example, as a indie developer, like having to hire people and do concept meshes, like I don't have to do that at all next year. And when I say concept meshes, I'll hire someone from India for like $80 to do like a model of XYZ. So maybe it's a spaceship, maybe it's something else. But I don't have to do that now because now I can just use Meshly to use Banana to figure it out. And then from there, just use the Meshly 6 to gen it. And it's like, oh, well,
Nice.
I just don't have to hire that anymore. And I can do it like rapid fire it so many times. Like I could send off like 20 generations, which is like getting 20 different assets from 20 different artists. And so those are the people that aren't going to make money anymore. And so you look at itch.io, all the artists that post there, or on Epic Game Store, all the artists that are no longer going to make money. And I think that's where the anger for AI is really coming in.
You don't have to deal with unreliable artists who.
Yeah. And the art out there
Uh,
has been art, and nobody is willing to admit that because even though I hire an artist to do this art, I still have to fix it. I still have to modify it because they're not experienced. And I know they're not experienced. So I'm not paying for experience. If I want to pay for experience, I have to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But now with Meshly, you're showing great examples. And like, even when you went earlier and showed like the resolution lowering, like that's some really cool stuff. And I can't wait to use some of that because that just shows me like, okay, now we're getting into the territory of like indie gamers can now use this tool to create their base meshes and just spit out a game. So, which I think is really cool.
Are you like a small studio or like what's your
Yeah.
background?
So
If you want to introduce yourself.
I ran a small studio for the last 3 years. It developed over COVID and I picked up tons of artists. And so like when I was saying like I was spending like 30 to 40K, like that's not an exaggeration. And that's not even going into the coding aspect that I don't have to pay for next year. Like there's so much that's changing over the landscape. And what people don't realize is people want new content every 6 months or every 3 months. You're only relevant for 3 months. You see these games that take off and they do like amazing on the Steam charts. And you look at them 3 months later and they're dead. They've made their money, they've moved on. And that developer either has the choice, let's make something new. And to make something new, as an indie dev, you're spending $40 to $50 to $60,000, and that's not an exaggeration. Like just two man, 3-man studio, and that's just to like handle code, hire someone for assets. You might need advertising, and so much of that like old fashioned way of doing stuff is going away. And I actually used to work for an official studio, so like not only have I been in the indie studio, but I've worked for actual studios. And to see AI like come and be what it is now, like I don't even know what's going to happen next year. Like I don't know, and it's kind of scares me because like I look at Meshly, I'm like, yes, I am supporting Meshly with my wallet right now. Like I love this product, but is it going to get taken down because the threat of so many jobs being lost, right? Like I don't want to be the doom and gloom guy, but like it's crazy. And then so like
Nobody.
are we going to get roadblocked? Like you
Think of the buggy.
like you saw the awards getting taken away, and that to me was like, oh my goodness, where's this collateral of AI
Yeah.
going to happen?
And
that
there's
was
the ongoing legal element with AI.
Yeah.
And you see things like the Suno being like merging with, traditional music companies. Yeah, it's definitely a little worrying. I definitely agree.
Music AI, I don't touch with. I still do, like when I have to hire people, I still use original composers because music is so dangerous.
They had some.
What do
They
you
had
think
some
about?
Sorry, they had some issue, especially because of people making cover of existing music.
Yeah, it's a lot of IP theft, which is actually going
Yeah,
down.
you can do your own music with
Yep.
your own prompt and iterate over it and getting a good music without stealing anything. I think
Honestly, we don't know how that's going to play out.
Is you can copyright 3 notes. And because you can copyright a group of 3 notes, it makes virtually impossible to create new and original music, which also makes it impossible for generative
it's
AI.
an AI issue.
At least on the
Even
US side. I
producer,
don't know how it is globally.
even producer in making regular music have the same issue with making something similar to another music. They already have issue with this. So the AI is not a real matter in this because any any good producer can make a good copy of anything. And since like 50 years, that's not new to my opinion.
Heaven forbid one pop song sounds like another.
Do you feel anything about the artists you're not hiring anymore? What do you
No,
think they should
because
do?
they chose not to use AI to speed up their own production. I went to school for art. I got a degree in fine art. I had to use a pencil and paper, and I had to do natural drawing. I hated doing all that. The fact that I can take my old drawings and make new art from it tells me two things. AI is not copying, and it's completely not what people say it is. And two, if you use it right as a natural artist, you should be able to like 100x fold your product while reducing the prices and maintaining competitiveness. And artists don't choose to do that. They don't choose to take more workload. They don't choose to get cheaper. And so now I'm forced to go out and buy the tool to help me to grow. So that's why.
I agree.
Caden, I'm just wondering, so hypothetically, let's say like we live in a world one day where AI lets you drop your game development costs to like almost zero. Like what would that mean for you? And like how would you like as we move towards that point?
We're already moving towards a collateral point. Like I don't think people realize that since COVID, people became terminally online. I don't know if many people remember before like 2018, but people weren't as terminally online as they are on today. And when I say that, I mean they do everything online, including their work. And so the consequence of that is with AI is just all the stuff they're doing is becoming cheaper. I mean, like, okay, so you could say 30 years ago, you went to photography school, you learned how to operate a manual film camera. Who uses a film camera today? Some people do, but everything is digitalized, which means an entire industry of people.
I think you cut out.
Lost
No, we can't hear you, Caden. Your mic. What do you mean? Did it get unplugged?
Always happens when you're on.
I wanted to hear the end of
Making a
that. That
point.
was interesting. Okay, he's fixing it. Just while we wait, I wanted to point out this interesting stat here on my screen. So 10,000 games on Steam, about 8% of its library disclose generative AI use. So that's 8% of games already on Steam.
Yeah,
disclose
and a
it.
lot of those Steams actually had to go back and add those label. That was a Steam requirement for us developers. Like if we used AI within the last 4 years, because 4 years ago, if you used AI, you didn't have to disclose that on Steam, right?
AI was so bad 4 years ago. We don't care.
And
have you noticed there's almost like a weekly controversy on X where a traditional artist, like a digital artist, gets caught tracing AI images. I don't know if you see this. This happens all the time. It's like every week there's another one that gets caught doing it.
Just imagine you make a draw with your pencil, then you scan it, then you to the AI telling to make the color. Just that's using AI, and that's still your work. I mean, it's I used to make a 6-page comics and drawn on paint on the computer. It took me like 3 months full time. And the worst work on this whole thing was making the coloring, the color. So artists can use AI. That's not a real
And I think
problem.
what the biggest critical problem is like, so we have all this generative now. Everybody like us, we're becoming the artists, and anybody who like all the normal people, because I'm big into 3D printing, and that's the biggest thing I hear in 3D printing groups. Who does the best generative AI? Hey, guess what? I hear Meshy brought up a lot in the groups. So congratulations on you guys for being.
Oh, you keep pronouncing it Meshley. It's Meshy.
Oh, is it? I don't know why. See the why? Oh my goodness, sorry.
I mean, I was gonna let you keep doing it, but
It's
It's
because
good to hear.
I'm probably
I
gonna
think
still mispronounce it, so I'm
That's
sorry.
if you're good at drawing, you'll make the difference between a good and a bad model. And I think if you have some experience in artistic experience, you'll make something better than the lambda.
Yeah,
people.
everybody's becoming their own artists, and it's becoming affordable. And there's an entire generation that's built on art who relies on it to make a living. I'm moving away from that. I'm moving more towards becoming a technical 3D printer and just learning how to operate them at the prime, because I see that technical know-how is going to be what future people are going to need to learn. So everybody here, your technical know-how and how to use generative AI, how to adapt into Blender, how to do more than just push a button and prompt, that's who's going to get hired in the future. And then everybody else.
It's already happening. Everyone
Fill the
like
gap.
even when we hire at Meshy, it's like we look for people who have AI skills because like it's just so powerful to be able to use AI like automation to know how to use like some even just ChatGPT effectively, like to know when it's hallucinating, for example, to know how in a process that isn't just copy pasting the ChatGPT response, like maybe editing it, adjusting it. Like there's all these little extra skills that kind of stack on top of AI that are in heavy demand now, and that's only going to grow.
I can tell you from an industry perspective, one of the biggest things that we've seen in the last year at Autodesk is the insistent skill set for AI. And it can be broad or it can be simple. The fact that you say I use Copilot for emails might not be enough, but the fact that you're trying to do things and build things with it is becoming more and more of a trend inside of the technology side. And one of the things that I see, at least on my side, and I'm hoping everybody else is doing it, is that they're not looking at it as I can remove, even though that's a business practice, right? I can save a lot of money and make my shareholders happy by removing a lot of staff because that's the overhead that goes against it. But instead, I have to sell the fact that I can keep the same amount of people plus hire more and do 12 times the amount of output that we were doing before. And that's going to be the reality of it.
I hope that wakes up a lot more businesses too, because it's kind of on the opposite right now with everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, that's exactly where I
like-
am. The 0 people I was able to pay before are now doing much, much more stuff.
It's an industry corporation. I'm all about capitalism, but it's a problem with the shareholders side of things where the only thing they care about, especially on the shareholder end, is making money. And the best way that you can make money is to remove staff. And so if you can do the same output with half the people, shareholders don't look at it as, oh, well, actually what we could do is we could double our output with the same amount of people and we can make no, that's not what they care about. They care about their immediate need of money. It's a old school CEO mentality to fight against the board, fight against the shareholders. And that's the thing that has to change, that mentality.
So the problem is especially now having the same output. No good AI, no Meshy can replace a really good modeler texture. No really good AI can replace a good senior. It's invaluable. The AI can't make a huge system and
You said it can't replace a good
well,
one. It can replace 100 mediocre ones.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, like give an expert developer who's also an expert at AI, and he can replace like 10 junior devs. Like, I think that's where we're going to see things changing. Let's move on a bit. So this is another article kind of just talking about how AI is changing game development and developers. There are just two quotes here that I kind of pulled from it that I found interesting. So one is, it seems like developers are sensitive to the public's distaste for Gen AI, but are unwilling to commit to not using it. So even though they're like, okay, like we're going to get pushback for using AI, they're just going to keep doing it. And the other quote was Young Lee, the CEO of Art Creators' parent company Nexon, said in an interview that it's important to assume that every game company is now using AI. So that's kind of a big quote, I think. The people, leading these companies, at least from their perspective, like everyone's already doing it and is going to continue doing it.
I agree.
But a lot of it comes down to just sheer cost, right? Like when the demand is so high that you can't even even a multi-million-dollar company can't keep up just through sheer expenditure and hiring new people. Like,
So you assume they're using AI the same you assume they're doing unpaid overtime or offshore workers.
Yeah.
Anything to keep the costs as low as possible. Just one process.
Pointed out, it's, every 6 months they want new content. So,
Yeah, your games, that was an interesting point, actually. Because, like, I'm trying to think of all the games in my Steam library, and it's like, how many of them do I even go back and play again? It's probably like 2%. There's a few games I'm kind of addicted to long term, but so yeah, in some ways, I think a lot of games now are being developed to just have like 2 hours of good content, and then from that point on, it's like, what's the point? Because most people who buy it aren't even going to play longer than 2 hours. I don't know. That's probably a bad thing for
And that's
indie
also
gaming.
conveniently the refund point.
No, but you bring up a good problem.
Get them
That's the
past the
biggest problem.
refund cutoff, right? I
Yep.
think that is a problem, and I think, this is kind of irregardless of AI. That's just kind of like people trying to maximize profit again. But yeah, like it's funny. People act like AI is the only problem with the gaming industry. There's so many other issues that have much longer running than AI that people have been doing.
And I think that's not especially a gaming industry thing, but that's what I see everywhere. AI is just the catalyst For a
Yeah,
lot of
AI
problems
exposes
that are
all the
not
cracks.
new, but now they become really apparent.
Well, AI is so visible because it's so popular now, and what is it, like 1 billion people almost are using ChatGPT, like, yeah, I think that's why it's become that catalyst of, like, hate, because it's everyone sees it everywhere, and also corporations are kind of pushing it everywhere, whether it makes sense or not, like, you try to install Windows now, and you get, like, all this AI stuff popping up. Yeah, I think people get sick of that, and they feel like it's sort of forced on them and they have no choice. And yeah, like that's kind of causing a lot of the hate as well.
When my phone updated and Gemini started popping up every 30 seconds, I started.
Annoying, right?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, I find that really irritating. If people want to filter AI, I have like they should be able to. Like I don't know why. Yeah, it's weird.
Hey there, it's Meshy. You haven't generated anything in a while. Why don't you visit us? We're missing
Did we
you.
do that? Do
No,
we
you
do
don't.
that? I don't think we did. We should though, you're right. Okay, here's another story that this roguelike claims to have the dubious honor of being the world's first fully playable, created 100% through AI game. It's a
It's
shame.
awful. It's a piece of shit. Sorry.
Is it? Have you guys played it? Have you tried it?
No. I saw someone making a video. Maybe he made something with AI. It's a 2D clone of. Can't remember the name. It's a crap.
But
So
why does this have no reviews? No reviews?
maybe
Because I saw like big streamers playing this. So like, how are there no reviews? That's really weird. Okay, well, yeah, this game.
believe it's
It
using
looks.
AI.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess they vibe coded it and then they used AI for the images, like the sprites. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. It looks pretty. I don't know. Very vampire. It looks like a bit of a clone of another game, but
I think my
interesting.
friend can make a better game coding
Yeah,
it. Maybe.
yeah. This is good. This game got a lot of free marketing, right? This claim got them a lot of free advertising and articles like this.
Yeah, indeed.
No, I don't believe that. Maybe the reviews got locked. I assume it got review bombed or something. But yeah, it's a shame X isn't here because he's making a game where everything's kind of AI or at least AI inspired as a theme. Yeah, he would find that game interesting probably. But anyway, that's all the AI news I have. I was gonna play Owen's game. He released a demo on Steam. So I'm thinking, yeah, we'll jump in and do that. Just give me a minute.
just briefly and quickly while it's on my mind, while you pull that up, the GPT 5.2, I decided to try that out. There's a plugin for Unity called RetroBlit, which skips most of Unity's like object-oriented and decorator system and goes with an old like game loop structure. I got an asset pack for a side-scrolling shmup from Itch and spent half an hour to an hour writing out a detailed spec for GPT to make a procedural side-scrolling shmup using these assets, and it took a while, or it took GPT about 7 minutes to give me all the files, and then it took me about an hour of like just tweaking them and lining up the asset usage and stuff, and the resulting game is perfectly playable. It's a procedural side-scrolling shmup with power-ups and bosses, and levels get harder and more enemies show up as you go along. So I was quite impressed because it's been a couple of years since the last time I tried to use GPT to actually generate playable game code, and it generated a whole game pretty quickly and well. So
I found GPT.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt
one,
anybody.
a lot better for everything actually lately. Like even the image generation's a lot better. It's comparable to Nano Banana Pro. Maybe not quite as good, but in terms of image control, it's really good now. And coding, I've been doing procedural generation scripts for Unity with it, and it seems to get them right like a lot more than it used to.
I use anti-gravity with Gemini 3 directly into my folder for my game and make me the translation, some code reviewing. Also, you can give a try to Gemini 3.
Yeah, Gemini is also good.
It's really, I think it's, I don't know for GPT 5.2, but it's really fast.
yeah, I've heard it's faster and possibly better. I just use GPT because I've got a subscription to it, so might as well.
A lot of people are in that situation. Yeah, everyone's already subscribed to GPT, and then Gemini is like suddenly better, and then it's like, but I'm already paying for it. Anyway,
So that's actually a really good point. I think that one of the things that I used to do is bounce around. So I've gone from Claude to, well, not really X as much, Grok, because that's really not that great, but between Gemini GPT and Claude, I will cancel subscriptions and go to the other one the moment that one's better than the next one. And then that way it forces the companies to really recognize the fact that they messed up. When GPT 5.1 came out, I immediately canceled, and then within 2 days 5.2 was out. So that's the fastest I've seen them release
They
something.
saw you canceled and they rushed the release.
Well, they saw that millions and millions of people are like they're losing millions of dollars, probably insignificant. He probably doesn't even care, but they see that happens, and the moment it happens, now they have to react, and they realize they messed up. And Gemini's caught up because even though they realized, and Autodesk isn't any different, right? We've been doing AI research for 14 years, and we have nothing to show for it. Just research papers and some cool stuff, but there's no product. Google did the same thing. They've been doing research for years on it with nothing to show, and publicly and mainstream wise, nothing to show for everybody until all of a sudden OpenAI came out and said, F all y'all, guess what we're going to do? And now everybody scrambled to catch up. And Gemini's doing a really good job of playing catch up. Copilot's still great for emails only, in my opinion. And, between the other ones, Claude is going to be a dominant in the future, in my mind.
I think Google waited a good time to release their product, and they waste less money on this, making OpenAI having a really bad time. I think they are losing really much money. Google, they don't lose that much, I think.
Google has a lot of
OG
cash.
in this space.
Lot
They
of
have the
cash.
money. They had the first interesting papers. They had, and they
Yeah,
have
they have
waited,
cash
and
to
now they're
burn.
just killing it.
They can that's why they can give away.
They-
They have like cash to burn, and also apparently they already had a working like equivalent of ChatGPT before I did, but they were too scared to release it because of all the worry of the legal issues. But apparently, the reason OpenAI became so big was that they were the first mover in that space, and they took that risk basically.
Absolutely.
It's a market advantage.
The OpenAI burned so many millions.
Yeah, I don't think OpenAI can as easily as something like Google can, just because Google's already very dominant in tech, whereas OpenAI is a bit newer. But it'll be interesting to see.
Google also
OpenAI needs to hit a very high level of profit, like very quickly, or I think by a certain date, or they're kind of screwed actually.
Google also have the hardware. They've got the tensor unit. They have their own hardware to make the LLM run on it. So they don't depend on NVIDIA. That's really important, I think.
Well, NVIDIA secured all that RAM, right? Or like these contracts. So that's another thing we could have talked about. But anyway, I won't go too deep into it. Let's look at Owen's game now. Owen, did you want to give people like even just a short introduction before I play the demo, just so they know what they're looking at? Like, just tell us a bit more about your game.
This is the game or the demo, because the demo
The demo.
is like 10 minutes gameplay. So I wanted to like make it public to get like some feedback, like if you can understand what you're doing, if the mechanic seems fun or doesn't feel right, maybe what should change. And when I get all that feedback, I want to release an early access, so you can get access to the full map that is very big. Some of you have seen it. So the game is about like doing farming activities, very slow down. Like when you're in the town, in the city, you have like a farmer life. But when you go to the mines, you will there discover like an ancient civilization. You can get all the mechanics in this demo, and about that, I can work and polish like the code or some bugs and all the problems that the people could find.
Cool. Sounds good. All right.
Cool.
Does the sound work? Can you guys hear the audio?
Yeah.
Yep, well,
You got your loading screen music. The music's a little loud, I think, when it kicks in for that loading screen.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Do you want me to just give you like heaps of feedback as I go? Like the easiest.
I'm with a pencil
You
ready
got
to
all right.
write.
Whoa. Okay, we're getting pop-ups. Oh yeah, so I did test this game a little earlier just to make sure it was going to run. And one of the things that I got really annoyed by actually is that you can't move like during the pop-ups. And I was thinking like, can you make it so that you can move, or like it doesn't stop your character control when you get a pop-up? That would be really helpful.
Okay, you can play also press a button to like skip the text.
Yeah,
but
that
the
didn't feel
rate-
right. I'm pressing G and it's really slow to skip.
Okay.
It's one change. Like if I can make any change, that's the one.
Good advice for game design to, as little as possible, take agency away from the player.
Oh yeah, the music change here is really jarring. That's another thing I noticed. So the music's so nice, and then I leave and it stops. But then if I go back, just like if you could make the music smoothly transition, so like what would you call it? Like fade in and out like nicely.
Yeah,
'Cause it's really nice music.
I have it, but it's only 1 second. So
Okay, there's another feedback. I kind of like maybe later make it so I can interact with these, just so it's like, oh, what's this? What's this? Cool.
they are all interactables, but too much information for the player.
Oh, is it maybe not?
Yeah.
All right, it's beautiful though. It looks amazing. Like the lighting,
Thanks.
it's really pretty. The mouse control takes a bit of time to get used to because it feels a little delayed when I rotate the camera. Or it
Yeah,
feels-
I did it on purpose because I had one player that it was really annoying with the mouse. Like he was crazy in the mouse. I added a delay.
He was okay. I find it a bit
Mouse-
like I'm not used to it. Maybe it's just because most games I play don't have that delay. But
It sounds like mouse smoothing, and best thing to do is have an option for mouse smoothing on and off and mouse sensitivity. So that people you can please as many people as possible by giving them the choice to.
so I picked up this axe and now I want to cut this tree. How do I do that? Can I do that?
Yeah, you can open the backpack.
I think it should be on tab or something that is close to where your left hand is already resting on the keyboard. Because I assume that you need that a lot, like go in and out of the inventory to equip things.
At one point, you can click up where it says slot, and you can put it there, and then use it with 1, 2, 3, 4.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think as well in Minecraft, doesn't it when you pick up an item, it autofills slots the first items you pick up? That might be nice. Why don't
Right click on the backpack to automatically put in the shortcuts maybe also.
You have to press Q, but wait, when you are on Q and
yeah, this feels a little bit. I don't know. There's like too many steps for me, to be honest. Die tree.
In its defense, it's pretty typical. Like Terraria does it the same way. In Minecraft, you would have crafted the X first. Many games have pretty much exactly this flow.
I don't play many games like that. I think I have played Terraria and Minecraft, but I'm not really coming from a background of like being experienced in those games. Wow, the tree has physics too. Can I like climb it? Oh, I can. That's interesting. Okay, here's another feedback. I'd like to just be able to hold mouse click to keep swinging instead of clicking it each time.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. I should be dead.
Like in Val.
Yeah, can you make it so that if the tree falls on me, I take damage? That'd be funny. Maybe not, actually. That's probably a terrible idea. Are all these trees cut downable?
Yeah.
Okay, they are. Nice. Some tools speak softly, yet reshape the world. It's all very poetic.
But if I let you keep moving, you could move to the next one, and you will delete the old one.
Yeah, just do an on leave effect. So when the player leaves, it just disables that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, an acknowledge or a skip button. So if they press that, make it go away immediately. If they use a movement, like a directional movement thing, then have it time out after 3 or 4 seconds. So it's still there to read while they move. And then if they interact with something else before that's timed out, then cut that short, bring up the new one. And that way people who just want to stand there and read it, and it won't go away until they press something. And those who want to keep moving still have a chance to read it. And if they go, oh, it disappeared too soon and I care, they can go back and just trigger it again.
Well, actually, yeah, like, I mean, I would be fine with, like, if I'm stopping to read something, I mean, my character can stop moving, like, or, like, I could be standing in the same area, like, to read it, maybe. I wouldn't mind it.
Maybe a sign would be better than just a text that pops up. So you will have to do it if you really want to.
But then you risk that people are going to ignore the sign or miss it and then not get the important information.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what the answer is there, but I'll keep playing. You can figure something out. Oh, okay, here's another tip. If the text is typing and I mouse click once, it should skip to the end of the text. That would be nice.
Okay.
Or just have a way to disable the slow text. Like I don't like waiting for text to spawn. I like the cactus. That's cute.
That is Meshy.
It's a Meshy cactus. Nice. Maybe I'm gonna put my X away. There we go. I'm getting more used to it now. The movement feels pretty good. Like the movement feels responsive. And I like the way the character's legs kind of change height on the terrain. It feels very polished. What's this tree thing? Here the traveler is reborn. So is this a respawn point?
Yeah. You can fight.
Okay.
Maybe you could put some of the bushes.
Okay. Oh, is that with the scythe? Wait, did I pick that up yet?
I don't know if you pick it.
Not yet.
No,
wait, where
not
was the
yet.
scythe? I did see it last time.
Outside of the house.
Oh, hey, you got like a weather system. It's nighttime.
Yeah.
I hear something ominous. What was that?
That is about the girl.
What are these things? Can I pick these up?
No, you can't pick them.
What are they?
They show that you destroy a resource in that point. So later in the story, you will get like explanation what is that, but not in the demo.
Can I trick jump my way out of the demo area? Oh, it's so dark.
I tried, but I couldn't. Maybe you can.
No, probably not. It's very dark. Okay, what am I meant to do now? Find more tools?
You can go to the mines, or you can. There is a hammer, and you can interact with that fence. I added a code that you can interact with the fence without equipping that hammer.
Use the fence?
Yeah, that one with E.
Oh, wait a second. E? Oh my god. Oh, okay. Build my done. There you go. I was spamming it. Yeah. How is the player meant to know they can? Oh, I see. There is a pop up. It's a bit hidden though, because it's like inside the fence.
Yeah.
So I didn't really see it. Also, it's kind of dark. Like, oh, continue. Maybe you could make it like float above it and be brighter or something. Why can't I can't click anything?
You have to that you found a
Oh,
new
there we
bug.
go. The mouse disappeared for a second. It's back now. It's working. Okay, I want to do a. Let's fix it. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, build something. Cool. There's a few options I see.
Yeah, but you need the materials.
All right. I think I'm ready to venture into the cave.
There is a light you can pick up. You don't go blind.
Okay. What happens if I don't? What if I just run in?
Stay there and you reach a wall that needs to be that is going to be destroyed with a bomb. But you need.
Don't tell me. Let me.
Okay.
Let me test you again. Okay. Mining helmet. Why not? That sounds safe. Oh, what the hell? Did I pick the light up?
You pick both.
All right. I want to use that. Oh, there we go. Oh, the helmet has a light. Okay. Oh, that's cool. That light looks nice.
Maybe you could interact one time with the farming ground and try to plant something.
Oh, yeah.
So you can interact and do it without.
I can't. Am I meant to be able to
grab the watering?
Oh, where's that? Maybe I missed.
It was right behind you when you were near that farming ground.
Oh, there it is. I would say like at nighttime, it's really hard to see anything, even with the light. Like I might miss things. I'm not too sure. Water. Wow.
Yeah, it grows.
It's growing. Yeah.
You can do it 5 times. Yeah.
Oh, I did.
You got 3 carrots.
Can I equip the carrot?
You can eat.
It's very Stardew Valley. Like it's very it reminds me of a few other games.
Cool. You can interact with the torch, and there is the bomb.
Drop a bomb. Wait, where did I get the bomb?
The
it's
bomb
already
was
dead.
there. Yeah.
I
But
don't
not to
know.
die. You want to die?
Wait,
No, I lost the demo. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're just testing the race.
Yep. Respawn works.
It's working.
Yep. I mean, you just know players are going to do things like that. So
Yeah.
Could be worse, at least in a game journalist.
An echo of the old world, still waiting. Your grandfather sought this relic in silence. Okay. Wait, can I pick this up? Golden medallion. Oh, this is the weapon.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I already know what's going to happen in here.
Yeah. You grab it and start the fighting immediately. So that is why I keep it, because most people won't know that they have to keep it to fight.
Are these Meshy zombies?
Yeah.
I like them. They're pretty easy to avoid though.
Yeah.
Oh, I spoke too soon. One came up from behind. Get energy.
You have to interact with those.
Oh, yeah. It's like a disco. The lighting is crazy.
Yeah. Did you want to get inside the board?
Can I go in the photo?
I thought maybe we'll try.
It's pushing me back.
Yeah.
Damn. I like the floating particles when you kill them.
Cool.
Is this a Meshy key?
Yeah. All
It's Meshy.
that is
I can
Meshy.
tell. Well, there we go. I think it's you probably need to give the player a bit more direction for them to like know to explore the first area and like collect all of the tools. Because I feel like you could easily miss a few.
Okay.
Like maybe do you have a quest system?
In the demo, no. Inside the big game, yes.
You wouldn't wanna
Do you
limit
think
it?
it is too hard to play, or the learning curve?
I think it's easy, but like there are ways to just make the whole thing flow better as an experience, like UI. Maybe UI changes, or it's like UI stuff that's the main complaints I had, or like user experience. Yeah.
Okay.
Observing it, I was noticing that the game maker had to keep prompting the player to maybe try this, maybe try that, because the game wasn't pointing them in that direction and the player wasn't intuiting it. So
yeah, you have to assume your player is going to be really stupid and miss like all of the objects and not really know what to do. And I mean, just get more people to test it and see how they interact with everything, or what they miss, or what they try, or what they can't find. It's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, I'm getting hard times to get to people to play it. So it seems like the people that used to play this game understand it very easy and play it, and they don't have any complaints. But if the people comes from another play style, they will find like it's hard to understand and the controls are all wrong.
What kind of player did you use test the game? This one,
Minecraft.
I mean, was it family or someone you know? Because when you make beta test, you have to give the game to large community, and when you don't know.
I paid to a guy beta test
this one.
my
Yeah,
game,
okay.
and he liked the genre, so he has some complaints because it was a lot of steps to do the farming. So that is why I added the code to the torches. So you interact with the torches, and it will automatically equip the accessory that needs to work. Also the fence and also the farming ground. But I wasn't sure about implementing that automatic with the trees, with the bushes and the stones, because it was like too much automatic, and the people,
Yeah.
the player didn't have to think that if you have an axe, you have to use the axe in wood and not the axe in the stone. So I need to adjust like what things are automatic and what not.
I've said it before, but give people the option when they start a new game. It's like, I'm not familiar with games like this, so please feel free to point out things. And then people can choose their own, dial in their own level of experience so that you don't bother the people who know what they're doing with stuff they already know, but you also don't freeze out the people who don't come with that knowledge built in.
I think, yeah, that's an option, but there is a way to do it where you should be able to cater to both, and then just give like menu toggles for certain like things. Cause like when I think of other games that are similar, like have a similar movement style, like something like Fable or some other old game I played, those handle like object interactions and stuff quite intuitively. And I think that, yeah, your game's a little more complex because it has like this building system, and it has farming and things that are like multiple steps. So yeah, you just need to find a way to make that feel intuitive to players who haven't played games like Minecraft or Stardew Valley or similar,
Yeah.
etc. Because yeah, it felt a little bit unintuitive to me. Mostly, yeah, I don't know. Also, have you considered adding it so that objects highlight when you go near them, like objects you can interact with, like actually like physically have a highlight outline?
Yeah, I had it implemented, but like the game, I wanted to feel like full realistic. So like having a object shining didn't look right to me. So I decided to turn it off.
Or maybe the way some games do it is there's like a hotkey, you just hold it and everything around you or it's like a toggle even. I mean, maybe that, I don't know, might not be the right solution, but I'm used to games. Like, to me, that's like a fantasy game where I'd be used to that kind of thing. It wouldn't feel out of place to me.
Okay.
Although actually, coming from
Depending on
VR chat,
I'm
that's
all for modernizing the experience and polishing it that way, but there's also something to be said for a bit less hand-holding in games. So there's definitely people who enjoy that and will celebrate a game for exactly not giving you a quest marker and a highlight around everything. But then I think it has to be visually intuitive, like the brightness has to be right.
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
an option that some people can turn it off and another turn it on.
Yeah, I don't really like the approach of different UIs for different kinds of players. I think you
Why
should
not?
try to. It just feels kind of weird. Like then it's almost like you're developing two games. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's an argument for it. But
Accessibility.
If I can add my 2 cents,
sure.
I think. Sorry. I think it's hard because it's like there is a amount of people that like hand holding in games. So whichever the outcome that you choose to do for the game, it's gonna disappoint the other half of people. So you'll never really have like 100% like everybody likes it the way you do it like this or the way you don't do it. So it's kind of hard, especially like I see everybody's point. Like, you know, there's just like this, you could add this, you could do that, but it's like hard because not everybody will be pleased because they'll find
The FTU is one of the hardest things in video games. I think if you have choice between giving information, do some visually, highlighting, making sure that the player find game mechanics, then make the next one after.
My idea was getting feedback, and like the more repeated request is going to be implemented. So I was going to hear most opinions. And then
you need to have dozens of playtesters to get some information. And what we did when I was working at Dontnod, we were 40 people working on the game, and we took a full day, where we all tested the game with taking note of what was working and what wasn't. You can also make a form to put your questions, for the players. That can be a good thing to have a formula.
Okay.
But yeah, that's why I ask why. Sorry, maybe we can make some playtests all here. Each one testing the game of the other people and give the feedback. It could be, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to have game devs play test, but also you need to get your target audience to play test, and you need to decide who your target audience is. And if it's a general audience, then I think your game needs to be more casual and hand-holding. if it's more focused on people who've already played those kinds of games, and you need to get them to test it, and it doesn't have to be as hand-holding.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with
yeah. I'm starting this journey about getting to know the players, getting players, and getting feedback and building a community because
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
then you
have
can
any.
figure out who loves your game and who loves the way you've already built it, and you can perhaps cater to that kind of player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because no game's going to appeal to everyone, and yeah, you kind of need to focus in your niche, I think, if you want to maximize the effort you put in for the result you get. But I'm no expert on that. That's just what comes to mind.
No, I'm really grateful for all your comments, and I'm taking notes of everything.
Well, we're going to
I really
upload this
appreciate
as well. If you missed anything, this will be uploaded to YouTube. Novare is going to edit it for us kindly. So
Cool.
yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. I think we'll leave it there. We're a bit over time, actually. But thank you, everybody, for coming to the first episode of the podcast. And we will see you again in 2 weeks. Yeah, really, really interesting conversation today. And it was great trying your game on. Thank you for that. Looking forward to seeing some more game showcases next time. I don't know, maybe Hammerhead, if you want to show us what anything new next time. Yeah, we'll probably have a few other people too who couldn't make it just because of the holidays. So awesome. Yeah, let's leave it there. And Tara, do you want to play us out with some music?
Absolutely. Have some slop.
Cool. Lop slinger. Awesome. Thank you.